What's good, bro? So I've lost over 15 pounds in the last year without going on some crazy diets, like eat cow penis every day for 30 days, without running a marathon every single day, and without tracking my calories or any of that. And I'm going to tell you right now that if you're anything like me, this isn't your first time trying to lose the fat, and this probably isn't your first time trying to find some good advice online to help you get there. And my promise with this video is I'm going to show you the biggest piece of advice that I wish I learned so that I could have made so much more progress so much quicker. Because honestly, I tried for years to make progress and to lose the fat, but it's only until I learned this one piece of advice that I'm about to tell you that I actually made any meaningful progress. And so, if you're anything like me, you've always tried to probably lose the fat. You've always wanted to quit these addictions that you have, but you're never able to make any meaningful progress. And I'm not going to waste your time. The reason that you're so trapped and it's so difficult to see any results is because you have messed up horrible mental health. That's it. That's what nobody else online is going to tell you. Everybody's going to tell you some crazy fat loss routine. They're going to tell you, oh, I ate kale soup every single day and I lost fat. No. If you just improve your mental health, it becomes genuinely 10 times easier, not just to lose the fat, but also to improve your confidence, to get straight A's, to achieve any goal that you desire. And in this video, I'm going to show you why that is and why it's so important to lose your mental health and 3 actionable ways to do that today. And these are going to be some long-term steps, but I promise you it will be worth it. So here's the thing, right? When you have horrible mental health, it's almost like you're running around with like a 50-pound boulder on your head. You're trying to carry this burden around you, this burden of addictions, of low confidence, of insecurity, of low motivation. And all of these things stem from poor mental health. If you improve your mental health, it becomes so much easier to lose the fat. And so, let me share with you now the 3 easiest ways to improve your mental health. So, let me just show you the reason for why it's messed up first. The first reason for why your mental health is so screwed up is because you have outsourced your sense of progress to a virtual world. And let me explain to you what that means. If you're anything like me, you're probably not only just fat, but you also have these addictions to things like junk food, scrolling, and especially video games. Because here's the thing, right? When you're leveling up in this virtual world, you aren't going to find any motivation to level up in real life. It's like offering a fat guy a salad and a pizza. He's definitely going to choose the pizza every single time because it feels better, right? And it's the same thing with video games because here's the thing, right? You might not know this, but the video game developers have engineered the game to basically just basically screw over your mind and basically rewire it because it knows that you like the sense of competition, of brotherhood, of making progress, of leveling up, of seeing the XP rise up. And so basically what happens is that over time, you get so used to the instant rewards of video games that it's so hard to make progress when you're trying to lose fat. Because here's the thing, right? In video games, progress is like this. You see progress, and it's like a linear thing. You see it, you make progress, you level up today. It's really quick. With fat loss, when you're trying to lose fat, it's like you don't see any progress for a while, and then it slowly shoots up. And when you're addicted to video games, it becomes so much harder to push through this point where you're not seeing any progress because you're used to seeing that quick dopamine hit. You're used to seeing the rewards come instantly. And so here's the thing, right? When you're addicted to video games, I give my heart out to you because I have gone through exactly what you've gone through. I know what it's like to use video games and to have it be a part of your life because honestly, if you're not bullshitting yourself, you're not satisfied with where you are. You don't like yourself. You don't like the way you look. You don't like the body that you're in. You don't like how insecure you are. But in video games, you're the Dragon Slayer. All your friends respect you. You're not fat-shamed in video games. And so you're more likely to go where your status is higher, which is video games. But here's the thing, right? If you're following me and you're actually intrigued by what I'm saying, if you're a video gamer, imagine how much progress you'd make if you instead took all that energy that you're putting into video games and just transferred it into real life. Because you're not just some casual gamer. You're a hardcore gamer. You love that feeling of progression. You love beating others. You love leveling up. And so what if we took all that time that you're putting into video games and you instead leveled up your IRL character? Because when you, for example, work out, it's like you're adding XP to the fitness skill. And if you think about it, if you were to channel all of that energy, you would destroy everybody. And I say this from my own experiences because after quitting video games, when I gave myself the channel to improve, like I started, leveling up my speaking through YouTube. I started studying for hours a day. I started exercising, delaying pleasure. When I put all of this time into real life, it was genuinely 100 times more fulfilling than just leveling up in a video game, because in real life, you get to keep the rewards that you get. And so if I've convinced you that video games are honestly not the best place to put your time, and I know it's going to be hard, but let me just give you some action steps so that it's easier to quit video games, and so that you have a new system to improve your life and level up IRL. So I want you to take a piece of paper right now and a pen, so just like I have here, and on that piece of paper, I want you to write down 2 or 3 big goals that you may have. And so when I started out, I remember my exact goals were I believe it was to lose 15 pounds, to get respect from my friends, and to become a straight A student. And what I did was I took these goals that I had and I actually wrote them down on a piece of paper. And so let's say your goals, just like I wrote here, are you want to pull a baddie and you also want to get jacked. So I don't have any experience with pulling a baddie yet, but what I do know is that to get jacked, there are a few things that you need to do. And so underneath that goal of getting jacked, write down some of the things you need to do. Like, okay, I need to exercise. I need to quit my addictions. I need to improve my mental health. I need to clean up my diet. And what this basically does is basically what I want you to do is I want you to write down now each of these individual things that you need to do. And it's almost like, imagine in a video game, when you have a quest, there are some prerequisites to achieving that quest. And so when you write this down, it's like you're setting your own quest as well as your own prerequisites so that you can achieve the goal. And now I want you to take this piece of paper that you've written down your goals on, and I want you to stick it onto your wall. And this sounds kind of weird and thinking, wait, what? Why should I stick it on my wall? But I'm telling you right now, it is so overpowered to do this, because when you basically take the goal and you write it down, you don't just keep it in the back of your mind. Most people have really pussy goals. They'll tell themselves, I want to get good grades. I want to get fit. And they'll have this goal in the back of their mind, but when you actually write it down with clear metrics and you write down these requisites, you become so much more likely to be consistent, because when you stick it on your wall, you're constantly reminded, just like in a video game, okay, I need to do this, I'm making this progress. And basically, in short, this is an overpowered strat, and if you don't do this, you are stupid, and it's so overpowered. So just do it right now. And the way this is going to help is that when you start making just a little bit of progress in real life, I'm going to show you more about this on the next few tips, but when you do that, you don't even need video games anymore, because when you're making progress in real life, you don't need video games to give you any more. You feel the same fulfillment. And so yeah, that's the first thing, right? Stop being a Genshin Impact player. Start leveling up in real life, bro. You will not regret it. Now, the second, and this is another really important thing, the reason that you're probably struggling right now is because you're overstimulated. And let me just explain to you what I mean. When you're playing video games, eating junk food, scrolling, going on the hub, doing all of these instantly pleasurable, really stimulating things, what you'll find is that it leads to a huge amount of boredom, because now you start getting cravings for more of this instant pleasure. Because here's the thing, right? I'll give you that same analogy. If you offer a fat guy a pizza or a salad, he's going to take the pizza any day. And when you condition yourself to constantly find like this really stimulating stuff like TikTok, YouTube, junk food, scrolling, video games, what you'll find is that everything else in life gets really, really boring. You don't really feel that sense of motivation that you used to have when you were a child, right? And the problem that you might be going through is because you're so overstimulated, you get this sense of boredom, and when you're bored, you're gonna have more of this sense of, yeah, I wouldn't eat that junk food, because the reason that you probably indulge in these bad habits isn't just because they feel good. It's just that you're bored. You'll eat junk food because you're bored. You'll play video games because you're bored. You'll watch YouTube because you're bored. And you're bored because you're overstimulated. That's really kindergarten, brain dead, caveman way to say it, but it's the truth. And so, the problem is that when you're overstimulating yourself and you start indulging even more, it leads to the sense of shame and guilt, right? And okay, I'll tell you this one story. This was, I believe, 2 years ago. I was at my home and we had some guests over. We got these little samosas. You know what samosas are? The little brown people food that we love to eat, right? So, it's basically just fried heaven. It's really good. And there were 12 samosas for everybody. There's like 8 of us. That day, I ate 7 of them. While the adults were talking, while everybody else was just goofing off, I was sat there like a little fatty eating 7 of them. Just literally overloading my mind with pleasure. And I felt so good while I was doing that. But then, everybody's looking at me like I'm some fat little person, right? Because I literally just ate 7 of the samosas, and I'm hit with this sense of shame. And shame is the worst thing you could possibly feel. It's up there with like probably the worst sensation any human could feel. And really, when you stop overstimulating yourself and you stop requiring hours of content, pounds of junk food just to function, you realize how much motivation you get. Because when you start being okay with boredom, you become okay with doing the good habits because you're no longer overstimulating yourself. And so, here's a solution, right? I want you, right now, this is your action step. There are some links that I'm going to put on this description of this video. 2 of those links are going to be to these extensions called like DF2, Distraction Free YouTube. If you're on YouTube right now, it's probably the thing that you use the most. And what you'll find is that if you actually believe me and you're convinced that overstimulation is bad, the biggest problem you're going to face is that when you're on the home page, it's so easy to just mindlessly click around because, I mean, okay, they're just thumbnails and they're engineered to make you feel curious, right? And so, what I want you to do is these extensions are basically just going to block your home page. So you can still use YouTube, but you only get to use the search bar. And because of that, and if you're convinced that you're watching a video like this, you are better than those garbage videos out there that are made to just stimulate you. Freaking Mr. Beast, freaking just overstimulating BS. And when you download these extensions, what they're basically going to do is they're going to block the home page so you only use the search bar. And it's also going to block that recommended feed on the side of the video. You know, the one that you might have been scrolling past. And now you're going to be so much less likely to just mindlessly scroll and fry your dopamine. And so I promise you right now, if you just download those extensions and you know that overstimulation is bad, you will be so much more motivated in just a few days because, first of all, you're going to stop wasting so much time and you're also going to use YouTube better. Because the problem isn't your YouTube addiction. I hate when people say, oh, YouTube is bad, stop watching it. No. Content like this, where somebody's like giving you advice, isn't bad, right? Because if your life improves from watching this video, that's a good thing. It's when you're watching mindless, brain-dead content for these freaking crabs out there who just need stimulation, these iPad kids, that's when it's really bad. And so, that's your action step. Go download those extensions, and I promise you, you will not miss out. You might have this idea saying like, oh wait, aren't people going to miss out on me if I'm not watching YouTube constantly, if I'm not scrolling constantly? No. After quitting these addictions, I can tell you right now, I went from playing video games for like 14 hours a day to 0. From watching YouTube for 10 plus hours a day to literally just like 30 minutes a day. That's what I do. And it's educational content just like this. Your life gets so much better when you stop being a slave to this website that's doing nothing but overstimulate you and make everything in life boring. And if you're watching a video like this, you're not like everybody else. You don't belong with those overstimulated, completely brain dead people who watch Mr. Beast, who watch these things. You're better than this. And if you'd have a pair of, okay, I'm not going to say that, but if you're truly committed to losing fat, you're going to do this right now. It's going to become so much easier, trust me. Now, the last thing that I want to show you, this is a really short one just to wrap things up, is that every single time you try and lose the fat, you're probably trying to do way too much. You're probably putting the difficulty way higher than it should be. Because here's the thing, let me give you an analogy. Imagine that you're starting out in a video game. And in that video game, you load into the world and immediately this quest pops up. Let me just have some water, bro. My bad. I'm not going to waste your time. I just want to have a quick sip of water. Refreshing. Okay. You can feel my voice. You can literally hear my voice like screwed up. Okay, anyways. So, when you load into a video game, what you'll find is that the quests aren't beat the level 500 boss. The quests are always really small, like, okay, explore this part of the map, gather 5 dirt, get 3 pieces of coal, get your first wooden tools. Okay, you start out really, really small. You level up slowly. You get these quick pieces of dopamine. You get these quick accomplishments, and over time, the quests get harder, but so do your skills. Because imagine if you logged into a video game and all of a sudden, the first quest was beat the level 500 boss. Just looking at that, it would be so demotivating because you think, oh, man, that's going to take hours. That's going to take days. So you start grinding, and even after like 4 hours of grinding, you're at like level 60. And you get so demotivated because of how far away the goal is that you just go and play a different game, right? That's basically exactly what happened with me for so long with fat loss. I'd set this goal of just losing 10 pounds immediately. And then I'd work out for a few weeks and I was making pretty good progress. But I didn't see fast enough progress and I felt demotivated. And so I'd go back to my usual brain dead habits. And what you need to understand is that, just like I explained earlier, fat loss isn't linear. It's not like you work out today and tomorrow you see results. The efforts you put in today are going to come back in a few months at least. And so what you need to understand is that it's not about simply focusing on the output, the end goal right now. And it's not about simply working out for 2 hours every single day when you haven't been consistent for even 3 weeks before. Like, I'm telling you this right now. If you're trying to work out for like 8 hours, like an hour a day, 2 hours a day, you're gonna fail because imagine in a video game, you tried to defeat the level 20 boss at level 1. You die. If you try to beat the level 100 boss at level 10, you die. And it's like if you try and complete those quests that are really high level, you need to first go through the prerequisite quests. Because through those prerequisite quests, like I explained earlier, you level up and then you're capable of beating harder enemies. And so just like in a video game, you want to start by doing really small quests. Like, for example, don't try and work out for 30 minutes every single day. Literally just work out for like 5 minutes and then call it a day. That's your workout for today. And when you did those 5 minutes, it might not feel like much, but you gained like 2 XP. And if you stay consistent for like 2 weeks, you get to level 2. Then you get to level 3, then level 4. And then over time, as your levels go up, you can increase it to 10 minutes and 20, then half an hour. Then you start going to a gym and you start doing some lifts. And then you slowly up the difficulty when you're capable. And I pray to God that you actually listen to this, because if you watch till the end of this video, this is honestly the most important step. But when you start out and you start small, you're going to be so much more likely to make progress, because the fat loss is going to happen in like a few months. Let it happen then. You just working out consistently for 10 minutes a day, doing like, okay, let's say you did 10 squats, 10 push-ups on your knees and 10 sit-ups. That is such a huge win. And over time, you stack these wins, you create this identity of being somebody who works out consistently, and then you can increase the difficulty. And so, yeah, In fact, I'm going to link a whole video underneath those two extensions that basically just walks you through how to set your own quest tracker and basically to stay more consistent. So just watch that video after this. If you found any value in this video, go down and subscribe. If you don't know me, my name's Atharv, and I help teams with fat loss and addiction so that they can make a comeback and beat 90% of the brain dead teens nowadays, alright? If you want more value just like this from somebody who actually relates to you, go down and subscribe, and as always, my name's Atharv. See you soon, bro.